Things are not always as they seem. In most cases, that means something super fancy doesn't live up to the expectations. But in today's case, it's a bit of the other way around. Join me for this full tour and review of what I think might be my favorite resort in the Hotel Zone. Welcome to Cancun. If you're new to the channel, let me be the first to welcome you. My name is Kevin, and I am the Flip-Flop Traveler. I'm here to give you honest content about flights, hotels, trains, and cruises. I paid for this stay out of pocket, and the price that I paid is always in the description below. Fiesta Americana had no knowledge that I'd be filming, and I didn't receive any compensation for doing so. Everything in this video is my personal opinion based on my own unique experience. The rest, I'll let speak for itself. Let's get started. And we have reached the finale of this Cancun series, a series which honestly has taught me a lot about the state of affairs of the hotel industry on this side of the world. Both good and bad, I should add. As we drive to the resort on the northern edge of the Hotel Zone, there's one question or comment that I get a lot on my Cancun videos, which I wanted to address. Many of my viewers have visited hotels in Thailand or Bali, that side of the world in general. The comment is usually something along the lines of, how is it possible that Cancun Hotel X can charge so much? It's all location, location, location. You can fly from Cancun to 95% of population centers in North America on a narrow-body plane in 6 hours. That's pretty different from a 25-hour itinerary to get to Phuket. Well, Mexico knows this, and they charge accordingly. The same could be said about Hawaii. Beautiful as it may be, I honestly think it's the most overpriced major destination on Earth. Same applies to Fiji as it relates to Australia, or the Balearics for Europeans. Everything is relative. And with that, welcome to what is, relatively, a basic convention-style entrance for such a large, imposing hotel. Now, before we head inside, I want you to have 3 things in mind as we do. First, the Grand Floridian Hotel in Disney World. Second, Oberoi hotels in general. And third, a mariachi band. Quite the combination, no? I have to honestly say that of all the hotels that I featured on this channel, this one, in many ways, fails to translate well to video, especially inside. It's amazing what updated lighting could do for this place. But let's not get held up on that. This resort, especially the lobby, is all about classically elegant Mexican vibes. Of another era for sure, but I think they actually do find a really nice balance. When checking in, you'll be greeted with a glass of sparkling wine and a refreshing cold towel. The other refreshing thing you'll find are the front desk staff. Probably the friendliest, most naturally accommodating team that I've seen on this trip. And without a shred of a doubt, that hospitality does extend to every other member of staff that I met. If you saw my Fiesta Americana Condesa review, and know how I wasn't sure which to pick of these two, so I picked both, you'll likely not understand how both of these hotels even came from the same company. This, the older, unrefurbished property, is by and large more inviting than the newly refurbished sister property down the road. Let's head out to the pool areas and continue to explore. Originally opened in 1990, this resort was pivotal in Cancun's birth, or rebirth, if you will. Way back in the day, when you'd still go to AAA to get traveler's checks, and you needed a travel agent to suggest a hotel for your trip because the internet was limited to Alta Vista and AOL, I remember looking at brochures for this place and being kind of in awe of it. Imagine a resort which was all junior suites. Nowadays, they're just good-sized rooms, but back then they were market-leading, and I remember specifically that they were charging near $400 per night in the mid-90s. It's basically the same as now. So there are a total of 602 rooms spread over 11 floors, and the last full renovation was in 2013. But I have my suspicions that another full one will be coming soon, or perhaps is already underway. During COVID, the resort transitioned to be an all-inclusive resort, and so far they've added 3 new restaurants, and while I was here, the spa and fitness center was also under renovation. So I think they are likely doing an under-the-radar renovation, while remaining open. We'll see about that one. For a better idea of the layout, let's go to the map. The resort is up here on the northern shore of the hotel zone, and there is one distinct benefit of being up here. In my experience, the beaches on the north shore typically have much less erosion during tropical storms and hurricanes. As for the resort itself, it's situated in a W shape with the buildings protecting the interior pool and beach areas. While the beach here isn't as expansive as the eastern shore of the zone, you have the benefit of it being a dead end, so you won't have hawkers and the general public walking in front of the resort all day, if that's a concern to you. Functionally, you have 4 pools, but in reality, they're all connected to give the property one massive centerpiece, and they do all have the ability to be heated depending on the time of year. Loungers around the pool were in abundance and were kept really clean, as I saw multiple staff scrubbing them early in the morning. There are also many thoughtful towel stations at each exterior door. Down to the beach now. If there was one thing that I didn't love about the resort, it was how much of the not-so-massive beach to begin with was roped off just for the use of their club guests. If the beach is a true make-or-break amenity for you, then I would suggest going for an infinite club room. Then you'll also have the benefit of more comfortable loungers on the beach. Located just on the beach is also the very atmospheric Na Ka'a, which serves pan-Mexican Asian cuisine for lunch and dinner. One other option for a quick lunch would be at La Cevicheria. Now, as a few of the other resorts I've viewed in Cancun have been, this one gets a good mix of clientele, but it is a more European style of all-inclusive. Are there activities? Yes. Is there free-flowing alcohol at all reasonable times of the day? Yes. Are either of them in your face all day long? Definitely no. As for the bars on site, there is service everywhere, even if you don't see central bar areas. In the lobby, there's one small outpost, and then in the pool, there's a swim-up bar attached to a restaurant. Other than that, the bars are primarily located in the restaurants, and that's how and where most guests will drink. Before, during, and after main meals. But don't worry, there's still an extensive selection of drinks available throughout the resort. Here's your friendly reminder to click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with friends and family. Those are truly the easiest ways, all free for you, to help support the channel. If you'd like to support me further, my Patreon is also linked in the description below. Many thanks in advance. For my lunch, I headed to Isla Contoy, which is a pavilion located in the middle of the pool complex. As we head over there, I would suggest taking careful note of the condition of absolutely everything around you. It really is one of the better cared for properties that I've been to, especially these public spaces. An open-air restaurant specializing in seafood and serving lunch and dinner. It features a small buffet as well as a full a la carte menu. The tostada and the tacos that I had were both phenomenal. One of the key reasons why coming to a Mexican hotel chain for Mexican food just makes good sense. Okay, let's stroll on up to my room. I ended up on the 6th floor. Originally, I was assigned to a room on the 4th floor, nearly the same view as where I ended up. But the 4th floor is the exact height of the tops of the palm trees, and there were two smack in front of my balcony, cutting off my view from the sea. I asked if it would be possible to switch, even if just on the same floor, a few rooms in either direction, and 5 minutes later, they had graciously prepared a new room for me. Depending on where you look, the room can feel anywhere from slightly dated to thoughtful and modern. But in every direction, it really is just well taken care of, and has all of the features and amenities that you would need. It actually reminds me of the setup of the Wyndham Ultra I stayed at a couple of years ago, but these rooms here are quite a bit nicer. As I put up the extra bits, I'll note that the only two things that I wasn't a fan of in the room were the slightly, universally lumpy pillows and the lack of easily accessible outlets near the bedside, though there were plenty of outlets in the room in general. There was a huge TV and just next to it a vanity or working area. Tons of open storage space. The room layout could almost function as a small efficiency or studio had it had a small kitchenette. If you head down to the description, you'll find my next 5 videos to come out, as well as a link to my other Cancun videos. On your way down there, don't forget to subscribe. I release full-length videos every Thursday and Saturday. I love that there was an espresso machine and a large bottle of water. Makes so much more sense than 6 small ones. The minibar was stocked and included as well. The bathroom's a bit dated, but I would say has a higher counter space to sink count ratio than I think any other hotel in Mexico. And there's even a bottle opener for those mornings when you can't decide between brushing your teeth or having a beer. My guess is this room specifically is normally given to families, as it has a bathtub. The original room that I received had a walk-in shower. And finally, what is certainly the best feature of the room is the balcony and the views of those gorgeous electric blue waters. Okay, before heading to dinner, let's check out some of the other food venues on site. First up, there's the Coral Cafe, which serves up coffee, pastries, ice cream, and some slightly more substantial grab-and-go options throughout the day. Then we have a new wing of sorts, which was still very, very new when I was there, but by now it's all open. First up, there's a central bar for evening cocktails. Then there's a long corridor with 3 new restaurants. First up is the new Italian restaurant Chianti, open daily for dinner. Next up is the Pan-Asian teppanyaki restaurant, Tori. There are also 2 other restaurants that I didn't get a chance to see. First, Le Basilic, which is their formal French restaurant, and then the Havana Club, which is an Argentinian steakhouse, which hadn't opened yet while I was there. For me, though, I headed to La Hoya, the traditional Mexican restaurant on site, which also had its own bar. Being one of the original restaurants in the hotel, the decor inside is older but charming, and the service matches. The charming part, I mean. The menu was actually a nice, thoughtful mix for an all-inclusive. It didn't just seem like a standard selection. While what I had might look as expected, I assure you that the concepts, flavors, and execution were all top-notch. I started out with the al pastor tacos, which I wish there were 6 of. Followed by a really Moorish crema poblano soup. For the main dish, I had the enmoladas with plantain, chicken, and almonds with a black mole sauce. And finally, for dessert, I had the chocolate fondant with tequila cream. Overall, this was the best all-inclusive meal that I had on this trip, both for the food and the service. One nice thing about being away from the crowds is, things are pretty peaceful here at night. The morning was a bit of a study in pastels, without a direct sunrise view, but it was still beautiful nonetheless, and the orientation of the resort in general does keep the outdoor areas cooler throughout the mornings as compared to hotels that are fully exposed. Time for breakfast at Viña del Mar, which is open for all 3 meals daily. At breakfast, they had a really nice buffet on offer. When I mentioned the Grand Floridian earlier, the interiors here, not quite as vibrant on camera as in person, are what exactly took me back. The buffet was pretty extensive, but the layout is a little bit strange. That said, it had some of the better quality food of any buffet that I'd had on the trip, and I appreciate how many hot dishes they had on offer, and that they were hot. Not to mention, they had 3 styles of French toast. A first for me on a standard buffet. So, my thoughts overall? Of every hotel that I've stayed at in and around Cancun for the channel or otherwise, this is the one that I would return to. Relatively speaking, it's a great value for the quality and variety of food on offer. But beyond that, it just has a charm about it that I hadn't seen at any other area hotels, ever. Surely, the interiors will be updated eventually, and I think the easy thing to say is that they're making the best out of them in the meantime. But I would lean into that a bit further and say that they use the older bones of the hotel to their advantage. I cannot tell you how much this place reminded me of the Oberoi Bengaluru. The era and decor are strikingly similar. The service at both was attentive and charming in its own way, even down to how both hotels have a mix of old school and super modern restaurants as they slowly renovate their spaces. I do fully understand that some might think that the decor here simply doesn't fit Cancun's vibe. I get that, but others might say that that's exactly why the resort is so good at what it does. So that'll wrap up this Cancun series for now, but I do have some more non-Cancun Mexico videos coming out much later this year, so watch this space. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video today. If you did, please be sure to click that like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on my twice weekly videos. I'll see you next time on Asiana Airlines in business class. Oh, and as always, thanks for watching until the end.